In Gaza, you know they're starving because Hamas ate all the foreign aid. And if you believe they're really that bad off, you've drunk the jihadi Kool-Aid. Don't fall for the lies, embrace the truth. It lasts forever, and it goes down smooth. I knew you'd like that one, David.
Rhyming smooth with truth by mispronouncing smooth.
Oh, should I have said the truth?
No, I actually like those off rhymes. It reminds me of it's a little after your time, Robert. Maybe not,
Yes.
but the Beastie Boys.
Yeah, that's after my time.
Yep. One of them said, y'all gather around to hear my golden voice. When it's time to rhyme, you know I get noise. So he changed nice into noise to get it to rhyme. So
was he English?
No.
Don't they say that noise?
It's understood that you can distort a word for rhyme. I'm just saying you've got a lot of good company, and then you could go even further with Humpty from Digital Underground. He said he would just make up words, right? So he said, I get stupid. I shoot an arrow like Cupid. I use a word that don't mean nothing, like Loop did. And so anyway.
And what about William Blake?
Oh yeah, him too.
What immortal hand or eye could dare frame thy fearful symmetry?
He stole that from the Beastie Boys. That's funny.
That's it. All right. We got serious stuff here, David. We got Jihad. We got This Week in Jihad, ladies and gentlemen. False? It's not This Week in Jihad?
I've been following the news daily. I have not seen nary a peep about Jihad.
Not even the word. Bit. Really?
Not even the word mentioned.
Did you see the general security official of the Syrian government saying that every Druze must be killed?
Israeli propaganda, Robert.
Oh, yeah? It was an audio tape. Did you see Muammar...
Hey, let's be clear. Let's be clear. An organization that can literally blow the testicles off of hundreds of dudes simultaneously can fake a cassette tape, Robert. Come on, be realistic.
Yes, you're right. You're right. And they could also fake Ahmed al-Shara's cousin, Muammar al-Shara. Ahmed al-Shara, for those who may not know, is Abu Muhammad al-Jalani, the president of Syria, Al-Qaeda leader for many years, now says that he is through with Al-Qaeda, and he's a moderate guy with a suit and tie. But Muammar, his cousin, put up on Facebook the other day, he said, I thought I had the quote here. Sorry, here it is. This is a fatwa. After 500 years of being out of practice, it is permissible to enslave their women. He must be one of those hijackers of Islam I've heard so much about. Am I right, David?
No, wait. Who said that? Him or his relative?
Muammar said it, the cousin of the president.
Oh, yeah, but the president's wearing a suit.
Yeah, he's got a tie.
Yeah, so listen, Robert, if someone comes and says, yeah, I may have been a terrorist in the past, but I'm not now, because look, I've got a suit on, you can look and see the suit.
Yeah.
So you're not sure about the other thing. You're not sure about the other thing, right? Because you don't know. He could be lying.
We don't know what he's wearing. We haven't seen a picture of it.
But if you see him in the suit,
yeah,
then okay, he's telling the truth about this, so he's probably telling the truth about the other thing, and he's reformed, and he's gonna be a good guy now.
And surely Islam does not countenance enslaving the women of the Druze.
Well, it 100% would, but I'm saying this guy's reformed.
Well, I don't know. I think Muammar al-Shara is telling us the truth here.
Wait, but Robert, listen to how insane you sound. Are you telling us not to trust guys in suits?
That's exactly what I'm telling you. Yes.
Okay. All right. You heard it here, folks.
Yes. All right. Also, they sent out suicide bombers this week against people they called calf-worshipping Druze pigs. Now, this calf-worshipping, I don't know a whole lot about the Druze religion, and it's very esoteric, but I didn't see anything about calves when I was looking into this week. And it seems to me like this is another one of those the Jews say Ezra is the son of Allah moments, where nobody knows what the heck they're talking about, and they don't really do this.
Yeah, it's a little difficult because people know a lot about Druze, but the Druze are pretty. They don't talk about their stuff. They don't talk about their stuff much. It's kind of like to keep secrets. They don't intermarry with other groups and so on. So, does seem like that's the sort of situation where you could just make up anything you want about them because people don't know a lot about them.
That's true. So you want to make up that they worship cows? I mean, this is from a people who told us that the names of the Quran chapters honor the people they're named for, like Mary, chapter 19, and so on. How many times have Islamic apologists said, you see how much we respect Mary and Jesus? There's even a chapter of the Quran called Mary, and how much we respect women. There's a chapter of the Quran called women. And how much we respect tables. There's a chapter of the Quran called the table. And in this case, you have the cow, chapter 2, and cattle, chapter 6. So these people obviously have great love for cows. And yet here they are calling the Druze calf worshippers? I don't know.
Yeah, it's I always love look how much we respect women. We've got a chapter of the Quran named after a woman. It's like, that is the only woman mentioned by name in the entire book. Your book mentions one woman by name ever. Other than that, it's just so-and-so's wife and this and that. But anyway, that's the proof. They said that everyone sets the bar really, really low for Islam. Let's just put it that way.
Very low, quite low. Now, I do have another story about the Druze, and this was a screenshot of a video. I got it around here somewhere, or I thought I did. My goodness, David, the things that can happen. You know, I put it on my list. I have it already, and the only thing I don't do is actually get the picture. Let's see if we can come up with it here. No, of course we cannot, because I was on the road this week. I didn't save it on this computer. Never mind. I'm going to describe this.
Yeah, tell us the story, Robert.
The story is that a jihadi in Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, which is the Al-Qaeda group that Ashura was the head of, and now he's the president, and they are the army, or much of the army, of the Syrian Republic. They went into a Druze house of worship, and there's a guy there, and there's a picture of a Druze sheikh on the wall, and he's tearing it down. And the interesting thing about it is that he's wearing a vest that says press. But meanwhile, he's clearly a jihadi. He is desecrating the Druze house of worship. It's all on the video. And so it seems to me that is a strong reminder of how many jihadis we have seen in Gaza who pose as the press and use ambulances and hospitals to camouflage their jihad activities. And so here we have this guy marked press, and he's a jihadi, and he's persecuting the Druze in the same way.
Yeah, with Hamas, the only time they dress up in their Hamas uniforms is after the ceasefire, and then they crawl out of their holes and they go, "You see, we're so strong. Look at our completely clean uniforms because we've been hiding the entire time." But sometimes they do need to go up and fight and so on. But yeah, they go around dressed as journalists and doctors and everything, and that way, if they die while slaughtering unbelievers in the name of Allah, then they go, "Oh, you killed another journalist. Israel's targeting the journalist." Smart. It's evil, but smart.
It's very smart because there are so many credulous journalists, that is, real journalists, not just guys wearing the jackets. And the credulous journalists who write for AP and Reuters and all the rest of them, the New York Times and CNN, they just repeat, oh yes, Israel has killed some doctors or some journalists and so on. And they never check to see, well, these guys actually jihadis? And there've been so many jihadis who have been caught working for the New York Times, guys that were filing reports 5 minutes after the October 7th massacre happened because they're there participating in it. And suddenly the New York Times or AP or whoever it was has the scoop on this massacre that's going on because one of the guys killing Israeli civilians is actually a journalist working for their outfit.
You know, Robert.
Yes, sir.
We've received our fair share of death threats over the years.
Yep.
People promising to slaughter us in the name of Allah. They never do it. But you think if even 1% of these guys, so if you just said 99% of these guys are just full of it, but 1% are actually serious, that's still a serious, significant number of people who intend to kill us. So I suggest from now on, you and I walk around dressed like the Pope. That way, like the Pope. That way, if any of these guys ever actually succeeds, it'll be all over the media. Jihadis killed the Pope, and no one can question it because you're not allowed to question that sort of thing, apparently.
And the Pope turns out to be David Wood. People just thought he was Bob from Chicago.
It's about what you're wearing. The message I'm receiving from journalists around the world is it does not matter what you really are. It's only what you're wearing at the time when you're killed, and that defines you, and that's what we will all report. Okay, great. I'll dress up like the Pope then.
That's a beautiful thing. We need more popes.
I like it.
Every man his own Pope.
I'm a Pope. You're a Pope. He's a Pope. She's a Pope.
Everywhere a Pope.
Wouldn't you like to be a Pope too?
Yep. All right. Meanwhile, another video showed Hamas digging up Gaza's water pipes and electricity lines and then using the pipes and the wiring to create rockets. And so then, of course, people say, oh, see, they're starving. They have no water. They have no electricity. Well, why is that?
It is. You have to, I mean, in a sixth sense, you have to admire their ability to just like turn anything into a weapon. Anything becomes a weapon.
Yes.
You give them, hey, we want to get water to you. We'll take the pipes and we'll make rocket launchers out of them. They have babies. Here's our baby. This is our new weapon. We weaponize our babies. It doesn't matter what, like anything. They'll just turn it into a weapon. It's pretty, they're like the MacGyvers. They're like evil MacGyvers who turn everything into weapons.
That's a beautiful thing. But it really is actually, it does display a certain ingenuity that if they turned it to something positive, they might actually accomplish something.
I mean, seriously, take all these guys and then find a place in the world that needs a ton of tunnels. And these are your guys. Yeah. These are your guys.
Yeah, I think that there's even more tunnels they haven't discovered yet. That the whole place was just practically fallen in on because every bit of it was dug up underneath. Meanwhile, in Gaza, at the same time that we're hearing that there's supposedly a genocide and supposedly starvation, a large crowd of well-fed people got together and they were chanting and it was really quite an impressive display, I gotta say, David, because they were all chanting it in unison. There were probably several thousand of them, and so it's all together, all these people at the same time saying Kaibar, Kaibar, Ya Yahud, Jaish Muhammad, Sa Yahud, and over and over again. And it really takes you into the how crowds can get caught up, how you can get caught up into a crowd and end up doing something you might regret later because you get caught up in the enthusiasm of the moment. But can you fill us in on this Kaibar business?
It's part of their historical revisionism, but according to their sources,
yes, which is big according.
Yeah. So the part they remember, the part they familiarize themselves with, is the part where Muhammad and his companions swept down upon the Jews of Kaibar as they were going out to tend to their crops and so on. Bunch of defenseless farmers, and the Muslims sweep down on them and go on a killing spree, and then take a bunch of women as sex captives. Where Muhammad had had Kanana tortured and killed to find out where he had some money, then took his wife, who was the hottest woman in town. So anyway, they remember that. And then it's, Jews, remember this. Remember that time when we did this to you. We're going to do this again. The part that they always, 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 always leave out is that after the battle, Muhammad's like, well, I'm really hungry. And a Jewish woman walks in, Zainab bint al-Harith, and says, hey, you're hungry, eh? I've been cooking a delicious meal for you. And of course, you just killed all the men in my family, my husband, my father. You just killed them all. But I really, really have an urge to cook dinner for you. And he goes, duh, I like food, duh. And she loaded she loaded it up with poison. That's according to their sources.
Yes.
She loads it up with poison. One of Muhammad's companions dies because he trusted Muhammad. He sees Muhammad eating it and he tastes it and he says, this tastes like something's wrong with it. Tastes like there's well, I can't, it can't be poison because Muhammad's still eating it. So anyway, this dude he turns green and dies. Muhammad sees his companion dying. He spits out what he's got in his mouth, but it did some sort of internal damage to him. He spent the next 3 years wallowing in freakish misery. Aisha said that she never saw anyone in as much agony as Muhammad was because of this. And it was all because the Muslims attacked Kaibar. That was the result.
Yes.
It was all because the Muslims attacked Kaibar. So, I mean, seriously, Jews need to shout something back at that time. It's like, that's when we took out your prophet. You guys are bragging about the time we killed your prophet because he slaughtered a bunch of us.
The meat warned him. And
that's the story.
It was poison.
That's what's funny. That's what's funny. You read the story, and his companion Bishr said, as he's dying, he said, I could taste it. I could taste the poison when it was in my mouth. And I look over at you and I was like, well, he's a prophet. He knows. So, I mean, he literally died because he trusted Muhammad. This guy, if you can't trust your prophet with your dinner, I don't know why you're going to trust him with your, eternal salvation and so on. But isn't it amazing that Bishr says he could taste the poison, and then Muhammad sees Bishr dying, and he goes, I have a revelation, everyone. The food has announced to me that it is poison. Too late, buddy. Your buddy's dying, and then you died because of it. Couldn't have warned you before you stuck it in your greedy face. Anyway, just lots of problems there. But seriously, looking back at like, Robert, you could line up all 8 billion people in the world, all 8 billion of them, and ask them, if you've just slaughtered a woman's entire bloodline for her entire family, and she offers to cook dinner for you, should you eat the food? 8 billion people out of 8 billion people will say, no, that would be the dumbest thing anyone in history has ever done. Great. Muhammad is the only person in all of history dumb enough to fall for that. This is what you want to shout at people? Ha ha, Kaibar, remember Kaibar, where our prophet did the dumbest thing anyone in history has ever done.
Well, of course, they remember it because they slaughtered a lot of Jews.
Robert, that's actually, that needs to be pointed out, right? It's to them, it's worth it, right? Like,
yes,
like October 7th, they killed 1,200 people. That's worth everything that happens. Like, if you could bomb Gaza down to nothing, it's all worth it because we killed 1,200 of you, right? Why wouldn't it be? Killing a bunch of Jews at Kaibar was worth losing your prophet. That's the level of obsession. If we get to kill some Jews, but it costs us our prophet, totally worth it. Well, why are people surprised when it's, hey, if we get to kill some Jews and it costs us our kids or something like that, getting bombed as they're hunting for the hostages and so on? Totally worth it in their minds. I don't even know why they're complaining. It's all totally worth it to them.
That's right. It's like it's the kind of Actually, it's the kind of fanaticism we saw in World War II as well, in the Holocaust, where Hitler had 1 million soldiers tied down dealing with the Holocaust and trains running and all these things. Meanwhile, his armies are collapsing in the East. And if he had had those 1 million soldiers and all the equipment that they're using to kill Jews, and if he had sent them against the Soviets, might have made a big difference for his war effort. But sometimes the people who seem to have things all together and everyone admires them and thinks that they are the ones that ought to be leading, they do not actually have a whole lot of sense.
No, that is actually that's a problematic feature of human thinking. I can think of two studies that I don't recall the exact numbers, but it was like disturbingly high percentages. But one, it was people who are getting divorced, right? And it's, you can either be happy, or they ask people, you can either be happy or unhappy. But if you choose to be happy, your ex will be happy. Or if you choose your ex to be unhappy, you'll be unhappy. In other words, which would you prefer? You're both unhappy for the rest of your lives, or you're both happy for the rest of your lives. It is a disturbing percentage of people who say, I would rather both of us be unhappy for the rest of our lives, because they can't really be happy if their ex is happy. They want their ex to be miserable so much that they're willing to be miserable too. If that was the only option, yes, I'm willing to be miserable too, as long as my ex is miserable. And if it would mean my ex being happy, then I would rather not be happy. So it's like people who would sacrifice their own happiness to make another person miserable. It's that line of thinking. And then there was another one where they were talking about billionaires, and it said, if you could get rid of billionaires, but it would like destroy your economy and you would be poor too, would you do it? And it's a shockingly high number of people who say yes. As long as people like Elon Musk were not going to be rich, I would be dirt poor for the rest of my life. And I would rather be that than we're all okay, but these guys are super rich.
So, guy's about to become mayor of New York saying that.
Yep, and people voting him in, doing the exact same. We know what this is going to do to our city, but we do not want billionaires around. So it's the same idea. If killing all these Jews is going to cost us our profit, our buildings, our people, whoever, it doesn't matter. It's totally worth it as long as we get some of them Jews.
Incredible. All right, I just found out what's wrong here with the photos. I had all these photos lined up, but then I got a new computer.
You didn't take that into consideration, Robert?
Well, it never occurred to me. I set it all up. I thought it would be here in Ecamm, but when I opened it up again, I got last week's photos.
Yeah, Ecamm is on your computer, Robert.
Well, yeah, but I thought that I had changed it. All right, I see the problem. But I don't understand that, actually, because when I opened it up, all the other settings were the same. So if it brought that over, why didn't it bring over the new pictures?
Don't know. Maybe it only saved stuff you've used already or something. I don't know. No idea.
I don't know. Anyway, so okay.
This will be a picture-free day, everyone. No pictures. So if you came here specifically for pictures...
I just... I'm finding some here and there on the hard drive. And here we have these guys. This is Mahmoud Abed. And let me get the other guy's name here. Malik Salem. Mahmoud Abed and Malik Salem. And they are Palestinian Authority police. And they were serving in the Palestinian Authority police force. They actually just finished their training not long ago. And they carried out a combined stabbing and shooting attack that killed an Israeli security guard. War is deceit, as Muhammad said.
Well, that's not what I was thinking about. What
were you thinking about?
Just
it was hilarious.
Being in my family your entire life and then going to prison, you get programmed not to like cops. And when you brought them up, I was like, do I not like them more because they're cops or because they're jihadis? Right? Here's the thing. It's like, I know you shouldn't dislike cops for being cops. We need cops, and we've seen what disasters there are, and people are like, get rid of cops, right? It's
Yeah.
just you're programmed all your life, and so you understand intellectually, hey, I shouldn't dislike these guys, and yet you just have this revulsion that's been built into you by being amongst criminals. It's like, but like, seriously, that's like, you can kind of understand. I can kind of understand the perspective of Palestinians because of that. Because I understand. Look, you're around people who are telling you all your life, these guys are bad, or you're in prison where, your community, like it or not, is a bunch of inmates, and these guys are the enemies who come in and mess with you guys, and can do whatever they want to you, and can come and lock you up if they want. I mean, like, lock you up even more by putting you in solitary or something like that. But they can do whatever you want. And you just builds up this rage and so on, and then years later, you still just you don't like them because of that, and so on. So I'm guessing it kind of makes sense, right? You're a kid, you grow up, and you're told all your life the Jews are the worst thing, and like, we should all be willing to die as long as we kill some of these guys. Hard to break away from that, which is why it's like impressive when someone like Mossab Hassan Yusuf like actually breaks out of that and can think through it.
I'm not sure that the police in the Palestinian Authority are taught anything different anyway.
No, I wouldn't think so.
This is probably just the same attitude that they always have. All right, I am not going to try to find all the pictures because that would take too long, and we don't have a whole lot of time. So yes, you're right. Those are the only pictures we're going to get this week, the cops, and super chats later.
This will be the This Week in Jihad no picture edition.
Yes, the audio edition. Anyway, Naim Qassem is the new head of Hezbollah since Hassan Nasrallah was killed. And Naim Qassem was interviewed recently, and he said an interesting thing. He said that victory does not always mean winning militarily. We won, that is Hezbollah, we won by surviving. I thought that's an interesting phrase. We won by surviving. It's really a very jihadi phrase because they never give up. They never stop fighting. And so the fact that he survived, they're gonna fight again another day. They're gonna kill more Jews later. Right now they have a chance to regroup. Yes.
Well, I literally just said how low the bar gets set for Islam. And here it is. Hey, if I go attack someone and they just like repeatedly beat the crap out of me and bomb everything down to nothing, or blow a bunch of people's testicles off and so on, it's just complete one-sided total victory for the other side. But hey, Abdullah over there, he survived. So you see, we've defeated you, we've humiliated you. What's up with these guys, man? And you see it every time. Every time there's some sort of ceasefire, they'll run out. You see, we're so strong.
Well, yeah, because the ceasefire itself is an indication that they're winning. Because you only declare a ceasefire in Islamic law when you're losing, and you need time to gather strength to win later. And so the fact that the stupid infidels agree to the ceasefire instead of pressing on when the jihadis are losing means the jihadis win.
It's kind of weird, though, because it's the exact same guys who scream, "We love death more than you love life." It's like, okay, well, isn't surviving losing then? Bunch of idiots. Be consistent. Be consistent, dang it.
Well, I think consistency is the hobgoblin of small minds. Actually, I got to show this picture because it's such a cliche in a certain sense. Let me see if I can do this, David, real quick.
You could do it.
Yes, but it would be wrong. That's Nixon and the Nixon tapes. We could do it, but it would be wrong. Okay, this is the Royal Opera House in London. And it's such a cliche of opera. These clowns back here wearing Viking horns. I don't know what they were singing, what they were putting on. I'm not an opera guy. But it's just the classic image of opera singing, is it not? I know I sound like a heartless Philistine, not a Palestinian. And some the opera's not over till the fat lady sings. So there she is in the front, ready to sing. And they're back there with the Viking horns. We often see the fat lady herself wearing the Viking horns. Anyway, one of the members of the chorus there in the back rolls out a Palestinian flag in the middle of a performance. And I see here that this was Il Trovatore, an 1853 opera by the Italian composer Giuseppe Verdi. I don't think Giuseppe Verdi was writing about the Palestinians, seeing as how they didn't exist yet for another 111 years.
Well, and I'm a quarter Norwegian. My grandmother was Norwegian, and she had Vikings all over her, Viking statues all over her house, and so on. I don't recall any of those having Palestinian flags, so I'm confused, Robert.
There was a bit of the cultural whitewash nonsense that they're doing so much of these days. Remember a few years back when people were saying, "Oh, the Vikings were Muslim," and this is in line with the things that we're getting in Britain all the time of historical dramas, and they have some English king, Richard III, or Anne Boleyn, the queen of Henry VIII, his second wife, first one to be beheaded, and they get black Africans to portray them, and they make them Muslim or they make them disabled or whatever fashionable thing there is today. And it's just completely fanciful and fictional. But anyway, this is a little different. This is just somebody who could not wait to be political and had to make this opera from 1853 into a political statement.
Oh, let me screenshot that. I can add that. I can add that to my list. It's like Robert. How many minds do you think were changed?
Ha! A lot of people just got mad, is all.
Yeah. So, how many? Let me put it differently. How many Palestinian lives do you think will be saved because of what that person did?
Probably about zero, maybe zero minus a few.
Yeah. All this stuff seems like, hey, here's something that has 0% chance of convincing anyone to agree with me or anything else. When you keep doing things that have absolutely no chance of actually helping in any way, and they just annoy the crap out of people, it seems like you're not doing it to effect any sort of change. You're just, look at me, everyone. You just want attention. You're seeking attention, right? It's like the people who, the climate change activists who go and throw soup on paintings. Like, okay, what person did you convince to help the environment? Because like who said, you know what? I just wanted to burn this entire world to the ground. But now that person threw soup on a Van Gogh, I really want to. I'm getting rid of my gasoline powered car.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I took a picture of that because I wanted to make a video titled something like "Top 10 Ways to Save Palestinian Lives," but it's like according to them and then according to me, right? So, top 10 lists would be like, okay, blocking traffic.
Uh-huh.
And you just go down the list of all that, screaming at people, tearing down posters of hostages. And so like all the stuff that they actually do, none of which has ever helped one single Palestinian at all. And it's all they do. And then like go through a real top 10 list. Hey, return the hostages. Stop wanting to kill Jews. Stop raising your kids to be obsessed with terror. Like all the stuff that would actually save Palestinian lives that no one on that side ever says. So anyway, it's that sort of thing is amazing to me. It's like, here are all, if you were actually concerned about saving the lives of Palestinians and little Palestinian children and Palestinian women, there's a slam dunk list of things you could be advocating that would actually save a bunch of lives. And you don't say any of those. You just say, "Oh, we'll block traffic. We'll hold this up at an opera," and none of which will do anything. And you just say, no, we're going to do the stuff that is guaranteed not to work, and the stuff that would actually work, off limits. Weird stuff.
Well, I got another solution for the whole problem here, David. It's not my solution. I'm just reporting. But all the Gazans can now go to France. and settle in France.
Oh, yeah, that was good news. That was good news.
The National Asylum Court has ruled that Israeli methods of warfare are sufficiently serious to be classified as persecution. And so now you can, and if you're just a Gazan, no matter what your circumstances, you can move to France, no problem. So all of Gaza can pick up and settle in Paris. They'll always have Paris.
Now this is fascinating, Robert. You've got literally the entire Muslim world saying, do not bring those particular people who are raised to be obsessed with slaughtering everyone around them anywhere near us, right? They build this huge wall, the most magnificent wall I've ever seen in my entire life. Donald Trump looked over at that wall and said, man, there's nothing I could do. There's nothing I can do to compete with that wall built between Egypt and Gaza. That's how Egyptians understand what they're dealing with here. We want the biggest, baddest wall anyone has ever built. And you got France, let's bring in as many of these guys as possible. What could go wrong? You giant bunch of morons. And Robert, it's the same thing we said over and over and over again. It's like, on the one hand, you want to say you guys are begging for it, and now you're going to get what you've been begging for, and you deserve it because you keep doing the stupidest things we can imagine. And what sucks is the politicians and so on who make these decisions, they're not the ones who suffer because they're living in super rich areas, and none of these Palestinians are going to be anywhere near them. It's the regular citizens who didn't want it, and that's what they get. So,
all right, I got a terrible story out of India. Terrible story. This is really disgusting. All right, and there are quite a few of them, as a matter of fact. So, you ready? Strap in for this. The owner of Fresh Deli Juice and Shake Shop, a Muslim named Amir, at Loni Chowki Sihani Chungi within the Nadgaon police station area, has been arrested, deliberately mixing urine into fruit juice and serving it to customers, particularly at a time when a lot of Hindus were going by for a pilgrimage. Same thing. That one was recent. This one is a few months ago. There's a pattern of this kind of behavior in India. A Muslim named Asab Ahmed was caught mixing urine into fruit juice he was selling to customers. He himself represented his name as Monu, which is a Hindu name, deceptively presenting himself to the Hindu clientele as a fellow Hindu.
To be fair, Robert.
Yes.
Drinking pee-pee is sort of a normal thing in Islam. It's considered a good thing, and so maybe these guys just were concerned that all these Hindus had stomach ailments, and that a bit of pee-pee could go a long way to curing their ills. And maybe they didn't have any camel urine handy, and therefore went with some human pee-pee. But Muhammad said when a woman accidentally drank from his pee-pee pot, he said, "Ha! You'll never get a stomach ache again." And so maybe that's what the guy was thinking. No, this is miracle pee-pee.
Yeah, I have that in the book, Muhammad: A Critical Biography. It's incredible. Anyway, so there's that story. That's going on. That's a form of jihad we have seen before, as a matter of fact. That Muslims trying to poison food. It actually happened in the UK. There was a guy arrested for the same kind of activity in Britain some years ago. And there have been several attempts where groups of Muslims were arrested around water reservoirs, behaving suspiciously, and arrested because it looked as if they were in restricted areas, and it looked as if that they were trying to poison the water supply. And some of those were in the United States. Had a typical incident. It's a funny thing, David. Sometimes these things go viral and sometimes they don't. Had kind of a typical story, actually pretty small scale story compared to some of the ones that we've seen and covered here. But I had a story out of Nigeria. Fulani herdsmen and their Islamic jihadis on last Friday, killed 5 Christians and wounded 3 others in northwest Kaduna State, and kidnapped at least 110 people. And of course, we know that the jihadis kidnap people so they can enslave or ransom them, as it may be good for their group. But anyway, I put the story up at Jihad Watch, and it went out on Twitter as usual. And for some reason, this one went viral and got tens of thousands of, maybe hundreds of thousands of views, and dozens, maybe more, of angry Nigerians saying, "You are lying. This is fake news. And where and when did this happen? What are the names of the casualties?" Which, of course, is all in the report that I had. And so I was able to supply it. But it's funny how you constantly get this, that any report of any atrocity committed by Islamic jihadis is a lie. No matter what. It's as if it's never actually happened. It's always something that is fabricated by the enemies of Islam. And then you have to ask, why? Why did they bother? Why don't they make up stories about any other group killing people in the name of their ideology? It's very strange.
Yeah, and then if a Hamas jihadi reports that his cousins, brothers, sisters, uncles, friend has a coworker who said a Jew did something, front page news all around the world.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. If Islamophobia happens, my goodness, that's international news. You remember Yasmin Suwaid. I know we've talked about her before. Poor girl. She was out late one night, and she was afraid of her father beating her. And so she made up a story about how guys in MAGA hats tore off her hijab on the subway. International news.
Mm-hmm.
Huge news. All made up.
You got to respect the dad, though. I remember that one. Remember what the dad did?
He shaved her head.
Yeah, it's like the point was he actually punished her for raising this big ruckus over something that never happened. Whereas unless he only did that because she got caught, right?
I was thinking he did it because she was out late with a boy.
Oh yeah, that's possible. Yeah,
and so he's humiliating her in her femininity, cutting her hair.
Yeah, that's when it happened. I was like, oh, okay, he actually got ticked off that she lied and caused this uproar. But you're right; it may have just been the other thing. And you're right. You're right. You're right. I'm wrong. I take it back.
I don't know. It may be, but I'd have to look back at it, But I that's what I remember from it anyway.
Yeah. So guys, this girl, she was out late. She didn't want to get in trouble, and so she did what we see over and over and over again. She makes up a story about some guys harassing her and pulling off her hijab. International news about how evil the United States is persecuting poor Muslim girls. And turns out she made it up. That's just the go-to move. If you're home late, you just blame some Islamophobes and everyone goes, oh, my poor little girl. Then it turns out to be a lie. And so he either shaved her head because she was out late with a boy or because she lied about what actually happened and caused this big uproar, or because she got caught. In other words, he was like, look, if you're going to make something up, make it believable. Look, you just,
Yep.
You're exposed. You're exposed. Do a better job of lying about the infidels next time.
That's it. I got to find this guy's picture because he's such an interesting looking guy here. That is Shahir Qasim. Did you see him?
No, but first I thought he had a world champion Zabiba, but then it was just hair.
It's his thinning hair. Anyway, Shahir Qasim, this past week, this is a very strange guy, very interesting guy. He stole a plane, a one of those small private planes, a Cessna.
Yep, happens to all of us.
In Victoria, British Columbia, and he flew it to Vancouver. And he's of course been charged with hijacking, and so on. But the weird thing about it is, David, that when this story broke, they were talking about a message he left on his Facebook page. And I went over to Facebook, and lo and behold, it was still there, which is very strange, as you
That's
know.
weird. They take that stuff down.
Yeah, they take these things down immediately, but it could still be there for all I know. And this is his message. I got a screenshot of it, and it says, "I am Sam Khurana, editor of the Arctic News blog. I am Shahir Kasim, editor of shahirkasim.com. I am a messenger of Allah. I am the Messiah, sent to save humanity from climate change and usher in an era of world peace. The Arctic sea ice is going to disappear within 2 years. When that happens, huge amounts of methane are going to erupt from the Arctic Ocean, triggering abrupt runaway global warming, turning Earth into Venus. Humans will go extinct within the first few years. We must begin geoengineering immediately to stabilize the Arctic ice sheet and prevent human extinction. People of the world, mobilize. Mobilize now. The angel Gabriel appeared before me and gave me a message from Allah. You can find that message at shahirkasim.com, which unfortunately had been taken down."
What?
Yeah, I went there. It was nothing.
Dude, that wasn't the angel Gabriel. That was Greta Thunberg, you dummy. The angel Greta.
That's it. All
Yeah,
right,
Robert.
yes?
Robert. What do you think about how? Because you just mentioned it. After every terrorist attack carried out in the name of Allah, it's like they would delay releasing the names so that they scrub all the social media sites, and then they release the names.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can't look up anything this person has said before, and it's kind of depending on their intention, you can either understand it or it's just pure evil. Because if you're thinking this guy is a terrorist and he's about to have everyone's attention, so whatever his reasoning was or his manifesto, we want to make sure that it doesn't get out. And that way, if he's trying to draw attention to a message, people don't actually get the message. And so we want to scrub everything. But it doesn't seem like that. It seems more, oh, you're going to see that, the person is clearly screaming Allahu Akbar and putting his manifesto about killing the kuffar and stuff like that. And therefore, we don't want to give Islam a bad reputation and so on. So it's weird because
I have a theory.
If the intention was the first one, then I would still disagree, because I think, no, you need to hear what these people are saying and you need to go through it and you need to expose it. That's how you deal with it. But at least I would think, okay, you have good intentions. But it seems to me that the intention is the latter usually, which is just pure evil.
Yes. And I think that I have a theory as to why this guy's message was still up, at least his Facebook message. And that is, what do you think of this? It's because he's nuts. It's because he's clearly insane.
That's what I was thinking.
In what he's saying. And so he's not saying, even though he's saying I'm a messenger from Allah and Gabriel appeared to him, he's not talking jihad and killing infidels and all that. He just seems crazy. And so he actually supports
the narrative. That's their narrative.
That jihadis are really just crazy. And so this is why we still have this message. And so Shahir Kasim, I don't think he's a jihadi. He's crazy, and he's crazy in a way that feeds right into what the establishment wants us to believe about Islam and jihad.
Hey, put that picture back up just for a second.
Yeah.
I want to say, right? Dude, just want to point this out. If anyone can convey this message to him, one, you look like a total freaking dork right now, right? No one's going to take you seriously. But I want to point out, because I like to help people. If you were to shave the rest of your head, but just leave that lock in front, you would look like some sort of guru, and you might actually win a few supporters. They'd be like, whoa, this dude looks very interesting.
But he wouldn't look like a Muslim. There aren't any Muslim gurus or imams who look like that. All right, I wanted to tell you about the Algerian journalist Yahya Abu Zakaria, who lives in Sweden now. and he said, I call on Algerian youth to colonize France. Call on Algerian youth to colonize France.
This guy's in Sweden?
Yes.
Now, wait. Isn't that the
Why?
place
Why
where...
France? Yeah.
well, I mean, Sweden... isn't Sweden the place where they... where a bunch of dudes just killed a guy for burning the Quran?
Yeah.
And those guys are still around. Didn't even catch them. Well, they caught some guys, then released them.
Yep.
And so they're actual people who murdered a guy for burning the Quran going around in Sweden.
Mm-hmm.
And then this guy.
Yes. And of
He
course,
could have
France
actually done it. He could have actually done it or ordered it for all we know.
He could have. He says, this is interesting you say that, actually, because this is what else he said. When the foreigners came to Algeria, we slaughtered them with jihad and resistance. We did not let any foreigner stay on Algerian soil. This is our heritage. If you analyze my genes, you will see revolution, resistance, jihad, and fight. He should wash his jeans. So any foreigner who so much as contemplates harming Algeria, I will gouge his eyes out, making him blind. I swear by Allah. The French and Americans used to call us barbarians because we are strong and we devour anyone that comes near our land. This is why they called us barbarians. Indeed, I swear by Allah that although eating human flesh and fat is prohibited, we will devour anyone that comes near our land with our teeth and our fingernails. This is how we were brought up. That's what he says. Yahya Abu Zakaria.
That dude sounds like a bright ray of sunshine.
Let me see. He ain't around. Sorry. I'm gonna try to put up his picture. Oh, there he is. There he is. He's gonna.
Oh, nice. He's on
devour
memory.
us with his teeth.
Yeah, you need to grow out a cool lock like that other dude, man, right in the middle of your head. Robert, it is interesting how, first, on the one hand, the dude broke my heart. I really, really, really wanted Algeria. I just wake up every day. Oh, Algeria! If I could only take Algeria. But it is interesting. It is interesting. Like, hey, we're good because we didn't let foreigners into our land, right? And that makes us good and strong because we didn't let foreigners in our land. And then one of the main objections to Jews being in Israel, because one, you had some Jews who were always there, and then you had some Jews that moved there, right? Mm-hmm. And at first they're just going there and buying land, right? They're just going, hey, I'm going to buy a house and stuff. And they look back at that and shame on those Jews for going there, buying land, buying a house, and so on, and then living there as if some part of some future plan for occupying it. Shame on them, shame on them. And it's like, wait, if you guys really believe anything you're saying about anything, how in the name of common sense do you just turn around and say, yes, we're going to move to all these places and we're going to keep moving and multiplying until we take them over, and say it's perfectly good? And the answer is because of Islam. It just turns you into a complete, utter, total hypocrite.
Yep. Oh, speaking of complete, total hypocrites, I got one out of Ireland where this guy was going. Actually, there are a lot of these. This guy was in the UK, and he was asking for asylum. A Muslim from Afghanistan. He gets asylum in the UK, and then he crosses over into Ireland and applies for asylum. And a border officer said, we see that all the time, that they come in, they already have asylum in one country, and then they cross in the UK and cross over into Ireland to get it again. And the idea is to get welfare benefits in both countries.
Smart. Once again, evil but smart.
And where does that come from? That surely has nothing to do with Islam, right?
What, wanting the unbelievers to pay for you?
Yeah, that we know that the Europeans were sold the whole idea of mass migration on the basis that the migrants would fill in the jobs that the aging workforce couldn't cover anymore, and yet they don't. They're just coming in and going on welfare.
And people don't realize like how sinister some of this is, in that um, some of these guys believe that you cannot have a normal job because then you'd be required to pay taxes and you'd be funding this non-Muslim government that then makes mischief in Muslim lands and supports Israel and things like that. And you cannot contribute financially to that. So all you can do is sort of leech off the system. You cannot contribute to the system. You leech from the system. And this gets compounded with the idea that if you can get to a European country or America or Canada or something like this, you can also get multiple wives, because all your wives will officially, before the state, be single moms, and therefore the state will pay for all your wives, and so on. And so you're just basically preparing for a future takeover and so on, and they're paying you for it. They're paying you for it.
Yep. And speaking of paying for it, it is a bit of a scandal in Britain, although not much because they're so deeply compromised. But turns out that the UK government spent £2 billion, which is actually, wait a minute, is that bill? Yeah, £2 billion, which is $2,679,000, $679 million. Excuse me. That they spent all that money to bring 24,000 Afghans secretly into the country. They just had to have the Afghans in Britain so much that they spent over $2.5 billion to get them in.
Well, I mean, after seeing that tourism video, remember the tourism video, Robert?
No, I don't think so.
You didn't see the tourism video? It's only the greatest video in the history of videos.
Wow.
Where the Afghan government's trying to get people to come.
Yeah, that tourism video.
Yeah, they do it like a terrorist video. That's awesome. That's the awesomest video ever. But maybe
we really should go.
I said, like, after seeing that video, I was like, I kind of like these guys a little more now because at least they have a sense of humor. But maybe other people are watching stuff like that and they're going, you know what? Maybe these guys aren't all bad. So let's find out and get a ton of these guys in our country.
I think we'd have a great time, and they'd be very welcoming and friendly until they looked us up on YouTube.
Then they'd really like us.
Yes. Because then they would leave Islam.
They will. They can and they will.
They can and they will. All right. Also, the UK government, I should note, spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on providing fast food and Netflix for illegal Muslim migrants in the country. So they get everything free, no problem.
Well, how are you gonna? What do they call it? Netflix in jail or something like that? Or you sit around and watching
I've heard
Netflix
that phrase, but I don't know what that means.
I think it means you're gonna sit around watching Netflix and eating pizza or something like that. So apparently that's the life now, and so by golly, we need to share that with the world.
Yes, by bringing the world to our countries and paying for their Netflix and their chill.
No, seriously, Rob. I mean, the message that the West is sending to these guys is just get here. You can get a bunch of wives. We'll pay for them. Have a bunch of kids with all your wives. We'll pay for all of it. You don't have to do anything. You can sit around watching Netflix and eating. We'll cover all of it. And just, focus on having as many kids as possible for when you could take over for Allah. And they view this as, you see how Allah is delivering these people into our hands.
Yeah.
Look at what Allah is doing. He is making these people do it for us.
It's
just and that's the message they're sending.
It's prophesied in the Quran. It's enough to make you a believer, David. Chapter 59, verse 2, it's right there that the infidels, Allah made them destroy their house by their own hands. And here they are doing it right before the world's eyes in Britain and all over Europe.
And it's just amazing because, I mean, Islam was so demoralized after losing the Ottoman, their Ottoman caliphate. They were so demoralized after that, and then just being so weak, and Israel just being able to crush them over and over again, and Western nations just completely overpowering them to where they're helpless, and they're sitting around whining and so on. They're sitting there thinking, it's like you're on the verge of mass apostasy, because they're looking at going, this is not the way things are supposed to be. This is absolutely not the way things are. We're supposed to be in charge. But then the Western governments do stuff like this, and they're sitting there going, oh, maybe this is how Allah is conquering them. It's not through us marching out. Allah's going to conquer them like this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Western nations are united in giving hope to jihadis.
Yep.
And you don't have to. You could have them completely demoralized everywhere they turn, and instead you keep encouraging them.
You are correct, sir. All right, we're moving on now to our super chat portion of the evening. Don't have so many today. Let's see. Grumpy Granny says, we had an interfaith presentation at work yesterday, and
Nice.
the Muslim presenter told us a pack of lies, religion of peace. I wanted to speak up, but need my job. Well, Grumpy, we all have to make hard choices sometimes. Unfortunately, these lies are very common, and while you might have done some good by speaking up, more likely they would just think, oh, what a nut, and yeah, let's fire her. She's Islamophobic.
I have to, Grumpy Granny. I've said this various times before, but in that situation, yes, you do want to keep your job, but there is a way to get the exact same information across in those circumstances. So if that happens again, then what you do is, by the way, feel completely free to throw us under the bus to get the point across. What you do is you come up with a couple of whatever you want to talk about. What you don't do is say, oh, you're talking about how great Islam is. Why does Surah 9, verse 29 say, fight those who do not believe in Allah? Or why'd your prophet bang a prepubescent girl or something like that? You don't want to do that, because then it's you saying it and you're the bad one, right? So what you do is you say, well, yes, I'm really glad you're here, because, someone sent me a clip of this Robert Spencer guy, and he says this and this and this, and he quotes these verses. So I'm just wondering how I could respond to that. How could I respond to that sort of thing? And then let the person talk. And, oh, that was so helpful. It was so helpful. This David Wood guy, he quotes like 200 of your hadiths saying that Muhammad had sex with a 9-year-old girl. I don't know how. I'd be interested in getting a Muslim response to that, so I get both sides of the story. So what would you say? You can get the exact same information across where you're actually enlisting this person to help you understand what's wrong with what we say.
That's beautiful, David.
Of course it is.
You're a genius.
I'm a beautiful guy.
Avi Ganuth. If the jihadi dresses fine, he'd never hurt a fly. It rhymes, so it's true. Fine and fly? I don't know, Avi, but close. It's as good as truth and smooth. Do you think it is advisable or even plausible for the Trump administration to pursue a strategy of returning Assad to power in Syria? Why or why not? I don't think it's advisable or plausible.
Nope, too late.
Yep.
Got to figure out how to deal with the current mess as it is.
Exactly. Assad didn't have the power to assert his authority over the whole country after the Civil War, and so he certainly wouldn't have it now.
Yep.
Yep. Please
Nope,
comment
can't
on
do
the
that.
Gaza Catholic Church damaged by attacks, as well as the situation in the Arab Christian town of Taiba. What are we to make of it? Well, these things happen in warfare. I think that the people who are saying that they targeted the church deliberately, it's just completely counterintuitive. Israel has enemies all over the world, and many of them on unjustifiable pretenses. Why would they go out of their way to make enemies they don't have to make? These things happen in warfare. It's a terrible thing. It's a tragedy that people died, but this was not intentional. And if Hamas were not launching its attacks from these areas, then Israel wouldn't be firing from them or to them. But Hamas deliberately launches its attacks from civilian areas in order to draw fire precisely like this so that it can use it for propaganda purposes. And as far as Taiba goes, you should look at the latest reports. The ambassador, Mike Huckabee, he went there and he now says that there was no burning of the cemetery or the ancient church as had been reported, not by Israeli settlers or anybody else, and the whole thing was just an exaggerated story, as is so often the case with the propagandists against Israel. David?
Oh, I just want to point out, yeah, as far as like war is concerned and bombing places, I mean, there are still churches. I'm sure there are churches in other places and so on, but there are still churches in the UK that were damaged by Nazi bombings that like they kind of preserved the damage. In other words, they don't fix a spot because they want it as like a kind of like a memorial. But anyway, point is, that happens. Germans bombed a lot of churches. British bombed a lot of churches and so on.
Yeah, the Germans have a
Yeah,
cathedral like that in Berlin. It's just a ruin, but you can walk in and around it. I was there.
yeah. So the idea is you're not trying to destroy Christianity to bomb churches or something. You just if you're bombing places, that sort of thing can happen. Um, and even if you had a situation where, like, let's suppose you had a group of Jews and they're like, let's go attack Christians or something like that. It's weird that that is the only group on the planet where anything someone in the group has ever done gets applied to the whole group instantly.
Yep.
And you see, this is what Jews do. And I'm just bringing that up because there are Jews who really hate Christianity. They exist. We know that. And so if they ever did but here's the thing. If you had a couple of Americans who said, we hate Christianity, guess what? They're Americans who hate Christianity, communists, everything else. If you had a couple of them and they went and attacked a church, which, by the way, has happened, things like that have, it never gets, you see, this is what Americans do or something like it. It never gets attributed to the entire group anywhere else except one group. So anyway, I don't know, weird situation.
Another excellent point, David. Oops. There was another one here. Hang on. I remember when the Met did a blood libel opera called The Death of Klinghoffer. And then when the Hamburg Star Opera turned the real Verdi opera Nabucco, which is about Jews, into a yarn about Muslim refugees. Well, I don't know anything about any of this. David, do you know opera? I don't know, but it doesn't surprise me because the people who do these things are all leftists. And so they love jihad, they love Islam, they have no idea what they're talking about or dealing with.
Yeah, I went to, I saw Jesus Christ Superstar.
Mm-hmm.
That was entertaining, good music and so on. I saw Phantom of the Opera. See, my wife liked opera, so I had to actually go to a couple during our marriage. Saw Phantom of the Opera. That was not terrible, but I can't say I liked it. And then we watched one, I forget, it was Agamemnon or so. It was like the worst thing I'd ever seen in my entire life. Like every single thing. The guy's getting killed. You think, okay, that would be an interesting part. But then he runs out and he's going, murderers, I'm being murdered. It was like all this, it's terrible. So anyway.
They're better when they're not in English and you don't know what
Yeah.
the language they're in.
No, it was. I don't know what that was in. That was in some other language, and they had you could read it across the top if you actually wanted to see what they were saying. But yeah, it was the worst thing I'd ever seen in my life. Fortunately, back then I had mastered the art of falling asleep while my head is balanced.
Oh.
I could do it. A lot of people couldn't do it, but I could actually fall asleep with my head balanced, and then unless you're looking right into my eyes, you don't know.
Nice. Now that would make a good video. It ain't over till the fat lady sings from the river to the sea. That's right. You even got the Viking horns there, Arctic based. Nice work. All right. The Islamic water cycle. Go to Zamzam, drink the water, pee, then drink the holy pee. It's beautiful religion. Greetings, Grom, Poland. Our citizens have to watch the Polgar border. Oh, Poland's Polish-German border, the Polgar border, because illegals are being pushed into our lovely country by German police. Fun. Now, this is interesting to me because I thought Putin was the guy who was pushing Muslim migrants into Europe in general, which would mean Poland almost immediately because it's the first place there, coming from Russia, or not counting Belarus, which isn't really a real country anyway. And now I'm going to hear from all these angry Belarusians.
Hey, we will not be intimidated by you Belarusans. Don't even try it. We've been dealing with jihadis for decades. You're not scaring us.
Yep. All right. Nothing will stop you from taking Shahada quicker than a fresh Jihad Watch video featuring David Wood, aka Jensen Button.
I don't know who Jensen Button is, but I'm about to look it up.
Okay.
Ooh, guy looks kind of cool. British racing driver. No, just British racing driver.
Okay. Does he look like you? Does he look like Mike Winger?
He's significantly more handsome than I am, but there is a slight resemblance with the way we have our hair cut and beards trimmed and so on. So,
okay. McDonald's Muta Meal says, people, there is no sweeter zakat than smashing the like button and sharing the video. Thanks, Muta.
McMuta. That's a McMuta.
Did you ever get a McMuta meal, by the way? Nobody ever gave you one?
No, I went and ordered one. I ordered one from McDonald's. AP recorded it. Yeah, so I ordered one. They didn't have the McMuta and stuff because it's apparently only in the UK.
Oh.
So you'd think, okay, record yourself ordering a McMuta in a UK McDonald's, but I'm not allowed in the UK. Neither are you.
That's right.
We can't even get a McMuta. Can a brother get a McMuta around here or what? Oh, side note for anyone who's interested in the topic. If you didn't catch it, there's an interview freshly posted over on my channel where we interview Mohammed Hijab's ex-wife.
Oh, that's huge. Yeah, everybody should go see that. But not till this is over. There once was a thug named Jelani that was never hugged by his mommy. He ditched camo for a suit, found a suit that fit best, then he went out to lie to the West. Work on the meter, Mike, but you're onto something.
And you have to include zoot to rhyme with suit in that one.
That's right. Oh, David, hey, I should ask, was that like it?
I have to say, it's not on par with your poems, Robert, but it's totally on par with the Quran.
Well, that was close.
Yeah.
That was very close. Scary. Got a heart? Thanks, Song of Relief, for the heart. Oh, it actually showed it instead of describing it. Wow.
Wait, what? It did? Where?
Yeah.
Where?
Back here. See that?
Oh, that's with a heart. That's okay. That's not a super sticker.
Right one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I thought you'd had the good news that they're now showing super stickers.
No, apparently not. I don't know.
We can't win. We can't win, Robert.
First time doing a super chat. Thank you, Margot Dolney. Not really sure what to say. Say hello, but want to, so I'm thankful for everything you guys are doing. God bless you both. And you as well, Margot Dolney. And thank you. Chechen girl fled to Georgia from an arranged marriage. Family members found her, but the Georgian police sent them packing. One for the good guys. Yes, indeed. Now, how'd she get all the way to Georgia? I just don't understand. Late to the stream, not sure if it's been commented upon yet. Robert, do you think you'll blow too many Marys out of the water?
Oh, forgot about that.
Oh,
yeah, you're debating Mary.
Yeah, I am on Friday, as you did with David Wood during your upcoming debate with her. I'm trying not to be overconfident here. Overconfidence is a killer. Mary has very formidable arguments, and I'm looking forward to discussing these issues with her.
I have to say, you do not want to be overconfident about Mary Harp. She is massively, massively underknown.
There you go.
She has a disturbing amount of knowledge, and whereas if I'm debating this topic, I'm giggling myself silly because you guys just trash the sources and point out how everything's in question, and I just get to make fun of Muhammad the entire time. So I think, it's like a dream debate. We should do this every week. Mary she's kind of terrifying, I have to say. That's a scary one, Robert.
All right. Well, we'll see. Maybe she will end my career, like they always boast. D Dubs, did you ask your barber for a low taper fade? Massive.
I don't know. I was telling AP because they asked why my beard got short and all this. It was I had a funeral to go to. I was leaving on Friday, so Thursday. It was already Thursday evening, and I was going to go to my normal barber, and I went over there, and they said they had to close early because their air conditioner went out. It was too hot. And so I had to scramble around to find a barber shop that was open in the evening. Barbershops usually close up pretty early. So I found one that was still open. It was my last chance because leaving the next day for a funeral is all raggedy. And so I went into a random place that I found. There was an Asian lady in there. I couldn't understand anything she was saying. And so she's talking and she's like, and I'm like, oh, yeah, sure, that's fine. All of a sudden, right down the side of my beard and stuff. Yeah, so I didn't know what she was saying, but I was agreeing to stuff, and then so anyway.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, DW, when can we expect Aisha Convo Part 2?
That will be in a couple of days.
Okay. Yep. Thank you for the super sticker there, Mother Hulda. And we have built a wall on the Poland-Belarus border so that it is a bit more difficult for Putin. But one of our soldiers was killed there by migrants. Yeah, I've seen videos. It looks pretty hairy there. All right, let's see. I don't think Sulam ibn Mishkam's widow, poisoner of Muhammad, was really called Zainab bint Harith. Well, that may be. I mean, Abu Lahab wasn't really called Abu Lahab, so why not? The Manapt study of Denmark shows that Muslims take out more of the system than they contribute. Wow, what a surprise. Who would have thought?
Shocker.
And that brings us to the end of another thrilling episode of This Week in Jihad. Should there be any jihad, in the unlikely event that there is jihad next week, then David and I will be right on it. And until then, you know the story. Pray, hope, and don't worry.